In 99 days to the kickoff of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, yesterday the Confederation of African Football began a 100 days countdown to the biggest football fiesta in Africa. And according to CAF, all the 5 stadiums meant to host the tournament has been inspected and ready for the competition. On that note, we welcome you to Nigeria's Fans Forum. This is where we discuss all things, the biggest footballing stories on the continent. So much to talk about today on this show. And of course, your time will be worth it. Kyle Dogundari and James are here. And as usual, we will be talking about all of these big stories today. Guys, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Femi.
Thank you very much, Femi. Happy to be here.
Okay, James, let's go. Yesterday, be proud to now there were initial fears that Ivory Coast might not be able to meet up with time to host the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. But yesterday, the Confederation of African Football, they allayed that fear by saying that all the 5 stadia for the tournament are ready, and officially the countdown has begun. So I think now all the 24 teams can now begin begin preparation in earnest for this biggest football fiesta of the continent.
Yes, a good one. This is what we want to hear. You remember, this competition would have been held a year earlier, but the weather condition in Cote d'Ivoire. So I mean, it's good news. This is not the first time they will be hosting the Afcon. Way back in 1984, they hosted, and this is the second time. So I'm happy that the organizing committee, CAF, they've come out to say they are ready to go. So teams can start booking for their accommodation and every other stuff. So we look forward to top competition, exciting one. So hopefully we'll not hear any, because now they've given everybody the assurance that they are good to go. Not that later we'll start hearing something different. Hopefully that will not come up. So at least all the old teams can look forward to the competition. Just like what I said before, they had to shift the schedule for the competition. It was initially built for the middle of the year, but because of the heavy rain in that period of Cote d'Ivoire, so they are we're looking forward to a very, very top competition. We have all the big guns who have qualified. Ghana qualified, Nigeria qualified, Cameroon, South Africa, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco. I mean, we're looking forward to a massive competition. So hopefully it's going to be better than what we saw at the last edition in Cameroon. Not taking anything away from the competition in Cameroon, but every new edition you want something to look forward to, something better compared to the previous one. So I'm hopeful for a very good competition.
Okay, so but of course financial issues continue to rock CAF, because remember, we told you some weeks back that CAF confirmed that they only paid federations 50% of their annual stipend. But for the CAF Super League, remember that competition will be kicking off this month. We heard that CAF will be spending about $15 million to prosecute that competition. And people are saying that, why can't CAF just pay the balance of 50% to federation so that they can begin to prepare for the tournament? But I think the reason why CAF hasn't paid that money is best known to them. Okay, Kyle, let's talk about Andre Onana. Of course, I know this concerns you as a Manchester United fan. He's all through the week, he's been in the news following his latest being the error he made in the Champions League against Galatasaray. But let's talk about this body. Kyle, they now call him the drinking master, because he's been drinking water like fish. But a lot of people have brought new dimensions to it. People said, people have been comparing him to David De Gea, remember? But some said when De Gea joined Manchester United, he was young, maybe naive to some extent, because Atletico Madrid had been his only major exposure before coming to United. But Onana has had a much more experience playing in the Champions League final last season. But some said Onana didn't begin this kind of errors he's been making for United in goal until after he returned to the Cameroon national team. Some are saying that he needs to seek spiritual guidance. It's kind of funny, but some said they actually agree with that line of thought. because after he left Cameroon at the 2022 FIFA World Cup, following the spat with Rigobert Song, he went back to Inter and he was doing well even till he left the club. But as soon as he returned to the Cameroon, to the Indomitable Lions, these errors began to happen. It was, of course, he's been called up for Cameroon's friendly later this month. But Kyle, what would you say to this? Is it the usual challenge that some players feel, some players experience in their first season? But do you think there's more to it, or it's just a crisis of confidence for the entire Manchester United team?
Personally, I think that's been very, very ridiculous when you say it's because he has gone back to Cameroon or all sorts of inanities. What I think is that he has made these mistakes. It's not true that he just started making them now. He has made those mistakes in Ajax. He made them in Inter, even though they are not this pronounced. What I think is that he's in England. The English game is faster, so he's going to make more mistakes now because opposing players quickly close him down before he's able to make a decision.
Kyle, sorry to cut in. The errors he had made in the Champions League, not even in the Premier League, against Galatasaray and against Bayern Munich.
It doesn't really matter. The thing here is, if any team is facing United now, any decent co-manager would pay special attention to Onana, because they know that he's just like you having a Maguire on the pitch. If I were a coach, I would tell my players, stay on him. He's prone to making silly errors. So that's the same way Onana is a marksman. I think in his own interest, because he's really, really hurting the man who has placed so much faith in him, that's Ten Hag. He should buckle up. He should cut out all of this attempt to be a sweeper, a libero. He should face the basic job he's paid to do, be a goalkeeper. He should stop trying to be a sweeper. It's not working. When he gets back his confidence, he can start that again. So, I mean, to be honest with you, some of his moves actually helps the team in the attacking forest. But the fact is, he is making much more errors than required. He should cut it down, face his basic duties, and over time, he's going to get over this. But I do not subscribe to the fact that it was because he went back to Cameroon or whatever it is that you guys are banding about. No, it's not. It's just like it's a face. Those who have that who make that comparison with De Gea. Yeah, De Gea had problem with his physical presence in goal. When he got to England, he was easily bullied off the ball. But then he got over it, he added weight and everything, and he became the goalkeeper that he was for United. Hopefully, before this guy makes permanent damage to his own career, he would be able to sit down and do what is right.
Okay, any cause of worry for Rigobert Song? So we don't feel, why did I bring him back to the national team?
I would still not agree with the conspiracy theory that it was because he went back to Cameroon. I would just say that if there's going to be a solution, it has to come from him, not anybody, not the Cameroonian national team coach or the United coaching staff. Everything must come from him. He must rediscover himself. Now, if he keeps on shipping goals the way he's going, it will affect his own self-confidence in goal. He is a pretty decent goalkeeper, Femi, even though he's a bit short in height for my liking. All these really great goalkeepers I know, except for a few, they have the physical presence, they are tall, they have the huge physical attributes to intimidate the opposition. But it is what it is. He is a good goalkeeper. He has proven it even before now. And there are flashes, you see flashes even in his short stay in United. So like I said, let me repeat it, that if there's going to be a correction, it has to come from him. He will do what is needed and hopefully he's able to get over it.
Okay, so let's go to Ghana now. Of course, remember, we've stayed so much on the GFA, the 2023 GFA elections, and as expected, Dr. Koto Krako has been elected for another 4 years in office. He had, out of 120 votes, he had 117 they voted in favor. We have two persons abstained. Then I think one person abstained, sorry. Then two, he had two no. Remember what happened with George Afriye, and even before then, a lot of people told Daniel Afriye to just abandon the ambition. Though he went to cast, but we've not heard a lot about that. So possibly the GFA should prepare for maybe a long legal battle, or maybe the election might even be rerun, but we do not know. But before then, what actually led discussion on social media was former NFF president Amaju Melvin Pinnick literally endorsing Okraku before that. He said Okraku has done well. That was before the election. And some people, particularly those in George Afriye's camp, didn't like that. But well, after the victory, Okraku told Afriye that he wants him to work with him. James, are we likely going to see anything? Because he said he wants all hands to be on deck. But this is someone that you literally disqualified from the election, like some people have argued in Ghana. But James, do you think this is going to happen in any way?
Well, it's only Afriye that's going to that's going to decide that whether it's going to join the camp of Okraku. If he decides to sit down and look at the way he was, but you cannot predict human beings. You might say, oh, he's never going to work with him, but at the end of the day, he might just end up. You never can tell the way human beings, where they react, where they act onto. Just find one space for him, and everything will be settled. So that's politicians for you. Once they win, whatever means they use, and getting victory, they always try to extend the hand of fellowship, like just accept the defeat. It's not about war. Let's work together to push this body forward, forgetting the fact that they were part of the reason why that rival was kicked out. They always want to come out and present themselves like saints. So I think everything is done and dusted now. Now we're left to be seen whether you want to push his case, because if he eventually decides to do that, I think it won't spell well for Ghanaian football, because as for me, so far so good, especially if you look at the female team, things are taking shape, especially if you check out the Black Queens. They're doing really, really well now. But if someone decides to say, okay, I want to drag this issue and cause confusion, distraction. I mean, look at the Black Stars. They have an Afcon to feature in, and we've always been saying it here. 1982 to now, that's 41 years ago. You need all the concentration, all the focus. But it won't be nice if somebody decide to, like if Afriye decide to take up the issue, decide to challenge the result and start going here and there, dragging things up and down. So congratulations to Okraku. Let's just hope that he will surpass whatever feat he was able to get in the previous term that he ran. So let's just see how things pan out.
Okay. Kyle, this election took a lot from the GFA because they had to move their office to Tamale, where the election, the GFA, they had to move their office, a lot of logistics from where the office is to Tamale, where the election held. But Kyle, do you think the GFA should have, well, I wouldn't know, but do you think they should have maybe wait for the ruling of CAS on this? Because if Judge Afriye eventually gets a favorable judgment from CAS, it means that this has to be done all over again. Even if Dr. Okraku would win again, this has to be done all over again.
No, I do not agree with you. On the contrary, when you have an association like the GFA, like the NFF, and all of this, the statutory, they have a constitutional time that you have to be in office. The moment you exceed that day, you are deemed to be illegal. So you have to conduct an election within this period. So if the legal processes take and decides that there has been a foul play and that the election should be done all over, so be it. But it would have been inconceivable, because if the GFA under Okraku had continued in office, they would have been staying on illegally, because there would have been no constitutional provision for them to be in office beyond
Beyond, okay.
beyond that period of time. So for me, it wasn't wrong. What they did was absolutely correct. But like I said on this topic, the last time we had this conversation, Femi, I told you that they were just being was a nice way of saying they were silly, because you had all of these delegates who were going to vote for you anyway. So why would you decide to disqualify the guy? You could as well have allowed him to contest, make him feel useful, then you do whatever it is you're going to do and get all of your delegates behind you. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it was wrong. It was immature to have disqualified Afriye. You could have allowed him contest and win your election the way you have planned to win it without anybody. If he had contested and lost, Femi, he would have been saying something different now. He wouldn't be talking about being disenfranchised from the elections. And for Pinnick, the less said about that man, the better for everybody. So I don't even want to say anything about him. So let's just leave him out of this conversation.
Okay, all right. So we hope that it will be a new dawn for Ghanaian football. The Afcon is coming. So much spotlight on the Black Stars. Over 40 years now without a trophy. The Black Queens have also not been in the Afcon for a number of tournaments now. So all eyes will be on that. Sorry, I meant to say Doc Okraku. Okay, let's stay with the Black Stars. Of course, Chris Hughton has released a list of players for the upcoming international friendly against Mexico and the United States. Of course, those are that will be coming up on the 15th and 18th, respectively, of this month. But Dede Ayew was omitted. You know, like a lot of people have been saying in Ghana that Dede Ayew is a free agent since last season, and he hasn't been able to get another club. Though Baba Rahman and a couple of other players also left out. But Kyle, the assistant with you, is this the beginning of an era for Dede Ayew in the Black Stars, the most capped player, but is it the beginning of the end of an era for him?
Well, no king rules forever, Femi. A day will come, certainly, that he has to leave, and I think he should leave when the ovation is loudest. And when do I think the ovation is loudest? When the coach finds suitable replacements for him. He has served his country well since 1999. That's a long time. He has had the opportunities and privileges that a lot of people would have died for. He belongs to a rich footballing history. His dad is a Ghana legend. His brothers have all played for Ghana. He has also done his best. He has surpassed his father's record of caps. He has done practically everything a player wants to achieve in his life. So if he leaves the national team now, it will take a long time before anybody even breaks his appearance record. So for me, it's not a thing of shame to bow out. If I were him, actually, Femi, I would have taken this as a sign to say, you know what, I'm no longer available for selection. Although, you know, players will always feel, oh, I can do it. I've been doing this forever. Even when their legs are failing, they will still tell you they can do it. So the moment the coach begins to overlook you, you know it's time to say, I have had my day. I want to hand over the baton to the younger player. So it could be the end of an era, but I do not want to see it as a thing of shame. It's not a thing of defeat. He has done absolutely well for his country. Ghana should be proud of him that they have somebody who has served them for all of 24 years. If for more than 24 years now, he has been in the national team since he captained the under-20 team to the under-20 World Cup in Egypt. So for me, as a person, and I say this with probably because I have a bit of sentiment towards the Ayew family, because they have served Ghana, Femi. They've saved Ghana. So I say Ghana should, as a matter of urgency, organize a suitable, send forth a testimonial match for him. It is okay, whatever he has achieved. It is okay.
Maybe when they officially announce his retirement from international football.
That's the point. Okay, I concede to you that.
Oh, you think he should announce it?
He should. Femi, what else is there to achieve? What else is there to achieve that he has not achieved? You want him to win the
Afcon is just around the corner.
Yeah, he could try for the Afcon, but then if the coach decides in his wisdom not to include him in his team, he cannot force himself on the team, Femi. So when he sees the handwriting on the wall, he should just answer off and say, okay, I've done enough. Thank you, Ghana. And Ghana will now say thank you, Ayew. Thank you, Ayew. And life goes on with him. He goes on to do greater things with his life beyond football. That's what his dad has now, and that's what I think he should also do. Although, Femi, let me quickly say something that when you have a very famous sibling or father with a legendary status, it's always difficult to outshine them. I always recall Segun Odegbami and Wole Odegbami. As good as as Wole Odegbami was in his playing days, people do not put him in the same bracket with his older brother. And I saw a lot of players with lesser talents that were mentioned, even though it was erroneous. But nobody puts Wole in that group because they feel like he's Odegbami's younger brother, as good as his brother. It's on him. So that's why what I think has happened in this case too.
Okay. James, this has been a long time coming. But do you think you should have done this earlier? Like how they said, maybe even before now, because there's been a lot of clamor, particularly after the 2022 FIFA World Cup, that he and Jordan should be left out of the national team. But a lot of people said Jordan is still competitive, playing week in, week out for Crystal Palace. But do you think you should have, or this should have been done before now? Either the coach leaves him out, or like how they said, he decides to announce his retirement from international football.
I mean, even the one thing about footballers, even if they are not, even they are free agents, they won't stop themselves from being invited. That's what I'm talking about footballers, So we think we have some footballers, they go to major tournaments without unattached. It doesn't stop them from being part of the team. So I don't think he will volunteer himself not to be invited. Every player, no matter what, they still want to play, even when it's so evident that their legs cannot take them again. So Ayew he has done his bit. He has, but what his father was not able to achieve, as great as the father was, he never played at the World Cup. I mean, one of the greatest players to come out from Africa. He had two sons who were able to do that, Jordan and Andre, and they were part of the. Ayew was part of the Ghanaian squad that had the best outing for Ghana at the World Cup in 2010. He was so unfortunate not to win the Afcon. That would have bring him at par with his dad, who won it in 1982. So for me, he has done everything. That's just like what Ayew said. He captained the under-20 team to win the under-20 World Cup in Egypt, the first and only African team to achieve that. So he has paid his dues. He has done everything. And even the last game when he was invited, we came up with this. We discussed this too. That whoever was going to be invited, somebody who has a role to play. It's not enough to just invite somebody and put them on the bench.
You
not have the confidence. Yes, you not have the confidence to call them in. So what's the point? So they are playing top quality friendly game, Mexico, and I think you said USA in the friendly game that they're going to play, and he's not part of it. So it goes to show that it's like the coach is beginning to build his team, and I think Ayew might not be part of his plans, because for a top quality friendly game like that, and he's not even mentioned. The case of Jordan is very active. He's always a starter for Crystal Palace, so he has every right to be part of the team. But Dede has not been playing, so what's the point inviting him? So we never can rule him out. He might still make the squad. The official squad for the Afcon is not yet out, so don't be surprised that they will still make it. But the most important thing is for him to get attached. You can't, because you come from a legendary family and you've done this. It's not about what you've done before. It's what you are doing presently. And for now, he has not justified why he should be called back to the team. So let's just see what happens. Because I think there's still a bit of time. And let's see whether you're still going to make it or not.
Okay, so of course we have the start of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which will be kicking off next month, and of course, remember, like we said, Afcon. So we'll wait to see if Chris Hughton will eventually decide to bring the Ayew back to the national team. He's unattached already, so we'll wait to see what happens. And finally, on the show today, of course, the FIFA World Cup is returning to. Thank God, of course, finally FIFA approved Spain, Portugal, and Morocco as the main host of the 2030 FIFA World Cup. And for the first time, FIFA is marking its centenary, since the World Cup started in 1930. So we also have Uruguay, Paraguay, and of course Argentina hosting 3 matches in that edition of the World Cup 2030. Yeah, so Morocco, there's no doubt about that. Kyle, there's no doubt as we close that Morocco will put in a very, very massive hosting like we saw in South Africa in 2010 because
absolutely.
they have
They're actually able to host alone. If FIFA had wanted them to do that, since 1988 to host the World Cup, and they have the facility to do that alone without even co-hosting with anybody.
So, of course, kudos to Morocco. So much to talk about on the show today, of course, but on Monday we have to continue. So sadly, whenever we come on forum, time is always an enemy. Kadogundari and James, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, Femi. See you.
Thank you, Femi.
Okay, of course, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they'll be taking on Saudi Arabia and Mozambique in a friendly next week. So by the start of next week, we expect the players to begin to come into. Oh no, they will have a camp. I don't know where. Okay, it has to be in Portugal, certainly, where the games will be taking place. Saudi Arabia and Mozambique. So we'll see what happens there. Until we'll see you on Monday. Pray that you have a fantastic weekend. Games also going down this weekend in Nigeria. The MPFL has kicked off in Ghana, across the continent. So much to talk about, but we'll bring you all of those on Monday. Bye. We'll see you all. Have a fantastic and sporting weekend.